All wings report in.
HouseDog, standing by.
Mother Goose, standing by.
Lock S-foils in attack position. Animal Squadron ready for battle.
Well, hello there, and welcome back to the Animal Squadron podcast. I am one of your, guest hosts at this point. It's me, HouseDog, and with me, as always, your hairiest host, the one who everyone likes more than me, I guess, these days, the one and only Mother Goose.
Hello. No, listen. Co-hosts all equally loved.
It's not what I heard from 2 episodes ago.
I don't even know what you're talking about.
Well, instead of being rid of me this week, we are without our good friend Tuck.
Yep. Yeah.
It's just the OG crew here today.
We accidentally got rid of the gong droid that he made his nest in.
Yeah, we threw it out into space on a trip, and he's just out there floating somewhere. He'll probably find his way back home.
I'm sure. I'm pretty sure he's got our scent now. I don't know how Minox...
We've yet to be rid of him so far.
I don't know how Minox track things.
Yeah, I don't know either. I don't think they have eyes. I think they just have a mouth. I don't even know if they have ears.
I think they have ears for sure. But the eyes I don't know about.
We'll have to do some research.
For sure. Well, today we're continuing our discussion of The Bad Batch. This is episodes 12 through... That is not correct. 9 through 12. There we go.
This is 9
Thank
through 12.
You. I appreciate it.
You're a week ahead. A week ahead.
Man, this was one of those batches of episodes that had some really good stuff and some really bad stuff.
In my opinion, these 4 batch of episodes, followed by, of course, the ending 4, are, in my opinion, whenever the season got good.
Gotcha. I really like the episodes 11 and 12. I'm not the biggest fan of 9 and 10. How did you feel about them overall?
I would agree with you. The latter half is better. We're finally, with this batch of episodes, I was waiting for you guys to finally catch up to me. And with these last 2 episodes of this batch, of this 4, I was like, finally, we're getting all the stuff that we've been talking about since we started the review in season 1.
Right.
Of, more cloning stuff, and it's getting to the point that I was finally, that we had been talking about for so long.
Yeah.
And I'm like, we're finally getting all the stuff that we want. And it's, I think I said it last time we were together as well, but we're getting everything that's going on in Mandalorian is complementing Bad Batch really well. Which was interesting to see this season.
Yeah, for sure. Well, before we dive really deep into these episodes, we missed a really, really important plot point from the last batch of episodes. The fact that Tech left Clone Force 99. Not Tech. I always get them confused. Echo. Yes. Sorry.
Yeah, that was that batch of episodes. He did.
Yeah, it's like we got done recording, and I was like, the first thing I thought was, dang it, we didn't talk about Tech.
You mean Echo?
Echo. Dang it. I was so confident I had it right this time. I was so confident. Echo.
Are you caught up on Bad Batch? Have you watched everything?
No, I've not seen the last 4 episodes. Like I said, I think in the last episode or the episode before this that I'm saving watching them until we review them. But I did have the ending of the last one spoiled, and I'm very mad.
Is it something bad? Because, I've already... I said it on the last episode, I just hit the crack pipe as soon as they're out. And then I found out that they did the finale. They released both episodes, and I was like, ooh. might as well. Don't mind if I
Right.
do.
So I had two major things spoiled. I won't talk about what they actually are till we actually get to our next batch of episodes. But it was one big plot twist and one character death. Yeah.
That sucks.
Yeah, I know. It's like the morning of, like Wednesday morning, because they dropped at like 2 in the morning, like Wednesday night.
Yeah, they drop them at midnight or 2.
Yeah, I got on.
I think you're right. I think it's 2 a.m.
Oh, my usual routine in the morning. I get on TikTok. First video I saw. Anyway,
I'm sorry.
Echo isn't a part of the team anymore. Well, I mean, I'm sure he'll always consider himself part of Clone Force 99, but he left to go be with Rex, and I feel like that was one of the most important plot points that we kind of just forgot about.
Glossed over.
Yeah.
But that's okay. It happens.
Yeah, we'll definitely do it again.
It was Tuck's fault.
Yeah, he's not here. We can blame Tucker.
So we can blame it on him. He's not here to defend himself, and he's not the editor, so he can't be like you and go back in and edit himself into the episode later.
Exactly. Sorry, my man. Okay, so shall we get into the crossing?
I think we should.
Great. So in this episode, do you remember what they're looking for? They're like mining for something.
Yes, they're mining. Well, Sid buys a mine that's supposed to be chock full of this rare ore, and it's like some kind of liquid. I don't know if it's a fuel or something. And the Bad Batch shows up to this mine, and they find out that Sid's been duped. Like, the mine is not chock full of this stuff.
Yeah.
They're like trace deposits of it. And that's kind of the opening.
Right. And they a very important plot point is when they land, they park their ship outside of view of the mine.
Well, the landing area the area by the mine wasn't big enough to fit the Marauder, so they had to land it out of sight, around the corner.
Right. And like we just talked about, they're man down. So they don't have as many people to guard them, work on the mission, and guard the ship.
Right.
Long story short, their ship gets stolen.
It does.
And then really it's just an adventure of them like trying to find their way off the planet. They walk through a canyon for a bit, almost get Lion King'd. Yeah,
by some random herd of animals.
Yeah, they're just chilling. And then they find another cave, and I think that's pretty much the episode.
Well, they get trapped in the cave.
Right, yes.
Because the reason why they go in the cave is because they are outrunning a storm as well.
Right, which is what the herd was running from.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the mineral that they have is like highly explosive. So they're trying to be careful with it, and like Wrecker almost drops it. And then how do they get caught in the cave? Is it just the storm, or does the stuff explode?
I don't remember. If you want to keep talking about it, I can look it up.
Yeah, so they get caught and they're stuck in the cave, and Omega is really down about Echo being gone.
Right.
So she just kind of goes off on her own. And it's alluded to in this episode again, I think, that like she's like kind of bringing the team down, I guess, or she thinks she is. Oh, because she won't let go of the Marauder, because the Marauder is the last thing that they had left that like tied their family together now that Echo was gone.
Right.
And I think Tech says something to her in the cave where he's like, the Marauder's just a ship. We can get a new ship.
Mm-hmm. And that she is not the biggest fan of that.
Yeah, she's like, the Marauders are home.
Yeah. To be fair, I mean, she's what, 10 to 13 right now? You know, she just lost her brother. She just lost her home. Like, this is a lot for a teenager to be going through.
Oh, yeah, 100%. And so she goes off on her own, and she winds up finding more of that rare material that they're looking for, and mines it all up, and then they fall down. There's like a shaft. They all fall down the shaft. They wind up in this little pool of water, and they blast their way out with the mineral that they just collected, like one of the cases.
Yeah. Okay. So it's Ipsilum, and what happened was Wrecker dropped it as they were running into the cave, and then the storm kind of lifted the canister up to the top of the cave entrance, where it was hit by lightning, exploded, and then caused a cave in. A very bad sequence of events for them.
Yes. But a normal sequence of events for the Bad Batch.
Yeah. I have mixed feelings about this episode because I feel like not really a lot happened, but at the same time, I think it was like good character development and interactions.
Yeah, but again, it was one of those episodes that was just setting up the much deeper
Next episode
next time.
Why the gang is here.
Which is fine, but I don't know. This late in the season, I was kind of like, we're running out of time here for these really important plot points.
Right.
That we do get, like we said, in the next two episodes of like Star Wars lore and stuff. And so it did happen this season. At the time, I was just like, why are we doing this episode right now? Give me the things that I want.
Yeah, I agree. And something else that this episode does that I wanted to point out is the fact that it's another small instance of, hey, maybe Sid may not be that great.
Yeah, here we are on another mission where the information is only a half-truth.
Right.
And we've almost died again. And we've lost our ship. And we're stuck in a cave.
Yeah. It's, you know, and she just is not really willing to help.
No. She's not a very good friend.
No. We first got in the Riot Racing episode a hint that maybe she wouldn't be the best, and I was hoping for maybe like she wasn't the best, but she's grown and changed, and the more I watch, the more I'm like, no, I think that guy was right. Sid's gonna really screw the Bad Batch over.
Yeah, I mean, I think because this show is a cartoon, you always think these characters are gonna like turn out to be good, or they're gonna eventually turn, which is what we thought with, you know, Crosshair for the longest time. And then, you know, episode after episode, opportunity after opportunity. Nope, Crosshair's just Crosshair, and he's a bad guy. Sorry.
Yep.
And that's kind of the same thing with Sid, you know.
Yeah, I agree.
But I think just because of the medium that this show is made into, you know, you always want to think things are going to go for the best because it's a cartoon. As opposed to like whenever you watch Mandalorian, you're like, oh, that guy's a bad guy.
Yeah.
Like, you never thought that Moff Gideon was going to suddenly have a change of heart and be like, we're experimenting on children. Probably not a good thing to do.
Probably not. And you think that would be the logical thing, that these people would see the error in their ways, but meh. I think that's really all I have for this one. Do you have anything else?
No, not much happened.
Yeah. Like you mentioned earlier, it was just kind of a setup for the next episode.
Yeah, that's a lot happens in the next episode for, you know, and that's the crazy thing about some of these episodes in Bad Batch is they're all 29 minutes.
Yeah.
No matter if it's I guess at one time the season opener,
right? The aftermath,
really
it was like an hour and 20 something. Yeah.
Yeah. Besides that, even the last two episodes were 29 minutes apiece. I mean, they did release two, so you got an hour, but my point is, some of these episodes are only 29 minutes. And like we said, that last episode, I watched it and it just felt really quick, not a whole lot happened. And then we go to episode 10 and it feels like so much happens. And there's a lot of like really deep plot points with characters and stuff that happens. And then you look up and all of a sudden it's the end of the episode and you're like, whoa, what happened?
Yeah.
How is it over? No, there should be another 10 minutes. What are you doing?
Right. And I think I watched these 2 episodes together. Remind me, did we get the reveal of who took the ship in episode 9?
No, it doesn't.
Okay, we don't see it till episode 10. Gotcha.
I mean, you see the person stealing the ship and then piloting it.
Right.
That's it.
Gotcha.
It's not revealed who it is until the next episode.
Cool. Well, let's get into it then. The next episode is, I've got my little handy Retrieval.
Indeed, sir.
You want to run through kind of what happens?
Yeah, we finally figure out who stole the Marauder. It's this kid named Benny.
Who was voiced by Ben 10, the same voice actor.
Okay, cool. I knew it sounded familiar.
Yeah. I mean, I'm pretty sure. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that was Ben 10's voice actor.
I'm gonna laugh if it's not.
Me too. Keep going.
So this kid named Benny, he steals the Marauder. The planet that they're on is like apparently this like really poor mining planet that used to be run by the Techno Union during the Clone Wars, and then after, of course, the Clone Wars ended, he's basically a slaver. His name is Mako. He has all these children slaves doing all the work for him, and he's just a real scumbag. He has child slaves and makes them work these terrible conditions.
And like they also, how much food and water they get is based on how like well they've served this guy. It's really crummy.
Yeah, you have a top earner like every week, and the prize for the top earner is a full bowl of soup to themselves, while everybody else has to like share a bowl of soup. It's really sad.
Okay, so I'm looking up Benny on IMDb. D. Bradley Baker, who is the
Bad Batch.
He's literally just listed as the Bad Batch, and I love that.
Batch.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm looking up this guy, Benny. A couple things he's done. He was Spider-Man in the Spider-Man games. Let's see. I swear he's
like the old PlayStation 2. No, the new Spider-Man games.
Yeah,
that's what it was. It wasn't Ben 10. It was that. That's where I recognized him. He was Spider-Man.
Spider-Man, and I think. Sorry, I've scrolled. This guy's done a lot. Like I've been scrolling pretty much since I started talking about him, and I'm only back to 2015. Yeah.
But was he Ben 10?
He was Ben 10, and you know what? He also voiced Philgax.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting bit of lore there.
Yes. Anyway, sorry, keep going.
So the Bad Batch sneaks into the town. They're able to locate... The reason why they find the ship is because they're able to ping Gonki.
Right, yes.
Mako gives Gonki to the kid. While they tear the Marauder apart.
I love that detail so much.
Because Gonki is a broken power droid and has no use for him. And whenever the Bad Batch finds Benny, he's like, why do y'all have this broken power droid? He's good for nothing.
Yep.
Gonki's a good nest for a Mynock.
Gonki's a great nest for a Mynock. Hey, what are Gonk droids' service? Like, or purpose?
They're just power.
Oh, yeah,
they're like walking generators.
Yes. Okay. I knew we've talked about it before, but I couldn't remember. Also, I swear I have shorts on. It's just my legs sticking up.
Let it be known that Mother Goose does the podcast without any pants on.
No pants. I mean, I guess technically I'm not wearing pants, but I am wearing shorts. You just can't see them on camera.
Nope, he's not wearing anything.
Not even underwear.
He's just wearing a Chewbacca mask and no clothes. He does the podcast in character.
You know I have to record the podcast like that at least once now.
Oh, Lord. Oh, no.
Maybe we'll make it a live...
I can't lie.
Maybe we'll make it a live cast. Put it on our Patreon.
Ooh. Don't tempt me with such ideas, sir.
Anyway, okay. So they go through this adventure to find their ship.
They convince Benny that they're going to get the ship back, and they have to go through this smoke column to get into the factory, covertly.
Right.
What did you think of the droids that are guarding there? They're kind of a different sentry droid than we've seen before.
Yeah, I really like the design of them. I'm always a big fan of like new droid types in Star Wars.
Yeah, like the Axis that we had last week. Those were cool. And now we've got these new security droids. Just a thought.
Yeah. Yeah, I like them. I like their design.
Interesting little guys.
Yeah. Yeah. And then let's see. If I'm remembering right.
Yeah. So they determine in order to get through the factory easily, Benny tells them, like, just send the girl with me. She'll be, less noticeable than you three.
Right.
She'll be easier to hide as a child slave. So Benny and Omega are getting through the tower, and in order to release the ship, they have to go to this like control room. So they have to steal a key card, essentially, from one of the older kids, because only he has access because he's the top earner.
Oh, right. Yes.
And that's where the whole soup scene comes from. And this Benny kid is really hoping that he'll be top earner because he brought the Marauder in.
Right, which, like, just the fact that he brought a whole ship in and it's still in question on if he'd be the top earner or not is also wild.
Yeah. Mako's not very nice.
Yeah.
And also, it's good to point out that Mako has a secret storeroom with just like mountains of food and drink. And one part of the show is just him like pigging out in this secret office.
Yeah. Food that could easily go well to his friends in need.
Oh, that's another big plot point that we're leaving out about this episode is Mako has convinced everyone that the plant is like hemorrhaging money, and that's why they don't have any food.
Yeah.
Because the plant's not making any money, and they're just having a hard time keeping the mine alive. So he makes them work longer hours so they can mine more.
Mm-hmm. When in truth...
Which is really just a lie. He's just mining more so he can make more money.
Yeah, they're actually making he's actually making a ton of money.
Yeah, because they don't get paid either.
Yeah, it's free labor. He's just making keeping all the profit for himself. It's disgusting.
Yeah.
And is actually, so all of these kids, except for Benny, who's even still could be argued that he's loyal. All these kids would do anything for Mako until the truth comes out that they are making a lot of money and he's hiding all of this.
Yeah. So within second of the show, plot point, Benny and Omega make it to the control room and she starts downloading the door codes or whatever for the hangar bay so they can escape. That's whenever she finds all of the information about the mine, and she's telling this to Benny, and Benny actually like sells her out behind her back. He presses like a call button And then she explains to him, like, yo, the mine is actually doing quite well, and he's screwing all of you over.
Yep.
And then, Mako and his security droids show up, and you're like, Benny, how could you do this?
Benny, come on.
But I mean, I guess that's what happens whenever, you're forced into this life of never knowing the next time you're going to eat.
Right.
Or even if I do work really hard, it's not even a guarantee that I'm going to be fed or, earn any money or anything. Like, he's stuck in this world.
Yeah.
And I think Omega even asks him, like, why don't you leave? Like, why don't you try to go somewhere else? And he's like, this planet's my home. Like, this is all I have.
Right.
This is where I want to be.
Where else would I go? Like, I don't
Yeah.
think she realizes how lucky she is to have her brothers and to have a ship, and the fact that they can go anywhere, which is wild, just considering her upbringing and the fact that she was trapped on Kamino. Like, you think she would kind of understand.
Yeah, that, like, Stockholm syndrome type of mindset.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, that's really what it is.
Right. Yeah, and then we have our final showdown.
Yeah, on this bridge.
Yeah.
Above a giant, like, lava, like, ore pit or something. And Mako has Omega, like, with a gun to her head or something, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then they're gonna, I know at least a little later they have her hanging above the lava pit to drop her in as a threat.
Yeah. And anyways, the Bad Batch, like, winds up taking out all the security droids and saving her. And but the reason she gets saved is because Benny runs out of the control room with the data pad, and he's like, everybody stop. Mako has been lying to us this whole time, and here's the proof. And all the kids, like, turn on him and, like, start coming after him with, like, sticks and stuff and wrenches, and they're just gonna, like, beat him up or something.
Yep. Hey, also,
And he trips.
if hypothetically Benny hadn't have done that, and Omega was in danger, like these kids were trying to threaten Omega, you think the Bad Batch would have killed these kids?
I mean, they don't even kill fellow clones most of the time, so maybe just stun.
Like, the thought popped into my head, and I started asking the question, and I was like, dang it, they have stun rifles. That's probably what they do. Is
today's theme the murder of children?
Maybe. I don't know.
We talk about Order 66 for like 30 seconds, and all of a sudden you're just the child murderer.
No, it's more of the fact, like, because they try to avoid killing as much as possible, and obviously none of them would want to kill children, but more of a would they if it came down to save Omega.
But you're saying you would kill children. You used to force choke women, and now you're into the killing of children.
Tuck's gone.
I'm getting more and more worried.
For one episode. One episode, and this joke comes back.
It's been a while, and I thought it needed to come back.
Of course. Hey, also, this is a weird point to drop this in, but it's this is our 40th episode.
Wow.
Hell yeah. Proud of us.
It only took us 3 years.
Only took us 3 years. But we got here.
And here we are.
Hell yeah.
Without Tuck.
Sorry, Tuck. We love you.
Yeah.
Okay. I really liked Hunter, like, swinging to save Omega as she's falling into the lava.
I love grapple guns. They're one of the coolest things in Star Wars.
For sure. And one of the longest or oldest items that we've had.
Grappling hooks. Yes.
Yeah, now I think about it. I was thinking about the scene where they go across the Death Star. That wasn't a grapple gun.
No, it was just a hook.
Yeah, dang it. Anyway. Can't tell the difference between Echo and Tuck. Can't tell the difference between a grappling hook and a grappling gun.
I just want to point out that you said Echo and Tuck. You really miss him, don't you?
Echo and Tuck. Yes, I do miss Tuck. We all know that Tuck is the tech of our group. Not only are there...
He's the glue that holds it together.
Exactly. Their names are similar. They're the glues. They're like the logical ones.
They wear glasses.
Yeah, because no one else on the podcast wears glasses. Nope, totally not.
He knows all these facts about things.
For sure. But yeah, I enjoyed this episode more than the first one. I love getting to see, or I guess technically more than episode 9, just to be absolutely clear. I love getting to see the effects of the Empire and like just random people out living in the galaxy. I think episodes like this are important to make the world actually feel alive and lived in. But at the same time, it wasn't necessarily my favorite episode.
No, much better than, I agree, much better than episode 9. But I think you make a really good point. These episodes do, kind of remind me of Clone Wars, and, where we got those episodes about planets that weren't necessarily within the Republic or the Confederacy, and that they were just struggling, that they had been forgotten about.
Yeah.
And they're out there, those planets are out there in the galaxy. And yeah, they're not, being besieged by droids or given relief supplies from, the Republic. They're just there on their own.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Which, I mean, that world was occupied by the Techno Union, but
yeah.
now at this point in time, they're not. And,
Right.
They're just trying to do their best, and other people sometimes take advantage of that, like Mako, but also the death of Mako.
Right. Yes. Well,
but Benny did try to save him.
That is true.
And instead he slipped and died.
He slipped and fell. No big deal.
And burned to death.
He Golemed it.
Like Smeagol.
Hey! Yeah. Great minds.
Well, I got him right here.
Oh, nice. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think we're keeping it under an hour. We're already at 40 minutes and haven't even started talking about the 2 good episodes.
Yeah, and this next one's a good one.
This next one's
I could
really
just talk
good.
I could talk about the one thing. I don't even need to talk about anything else in the episode.
Yeah, go ahead. I mean, really, the one thing is the episode, so...
Yeah, so just in overview, it opens with a ship, a dead ship floating in space and crashing down at this planet. And we do get some stuff back on, is it Ariadu?
I'm not entirely sure.
Where the secret base is?
Yeah.
The secret cloning
Oh,
base?
as always, you keep talking, I'll look it up.
Yeah, so we get some stuff there between that lead scientist and Nalase. And, then we go back to the Bad Batch, and Sid's once again talking to them, and they're like, look, you almost killed us this last mission again. And she's like, you guys still owe me. Remember that silence isn't, priceless, or doesn't come with a cost, I mean.
Mm-hmm.
So she's like, there's this downed freighter, and I got the information first, so you guys need to go get it, or else.
Right.
Basically.
Yeah.
And they tell Sid, like, what makes you think we're even going to come back this time? And again, she's like, well, you better.
Yeah, because Sid's the best, right?
It makes me sad because there were so many good moments
Right?
with Sid there in the beginning.
I actually really did like Sid, and it's just these... It's so funny how just like these really small moments can skew your perspective on a character.
Yeah, and it changes them completely, which, I mean, is just good storytelling.
Yeah, for sure. Also, before we get back into it, it's Mount Tantus, which I think first appeared in Heir to the Empire, 1991.
Yeah, it came from old EU stuff.
Yeah, so it's really cool
But
they're bringing
is
it back.
Mount Tantus on Ariadu?
Oh, the planet. It's got to be, right? Because that's where all this cloning stuff is going on, right?
I believe it's Ariadu.
Yeah. Well, I'll look deeper into it.
But yeah, so the Bad Batch agrees to go to this freighter because I don't remember why they have to, but they do. I think they're still kind of deciding whether or not they're gonna still work for Sid. And so they decide to go to it anyways. And it's kind of like Alien little bit. The old Alien film.
Oh, yes. I definitely got those vibes.
Yeah, from the beginning with the, dead ship floating in space and everything. And you have that one commando running around with an electro staff, and then he, gets taken out, and then it flashes to everything we just talked about.
Right.
So the Bad Batch is exploring this ship. They find the electro staffs, and one of them even comments like, "Oh, clone commando staff, like that's a big deal." But yet there's nobody aboard the ship.
Right.
And then they are attacked by a strange creature that feeds on electricity and starts growing tremendously.
I wonder where we've seen this before.
I don't know. Maybe Clone Wars.
Okay, so Mount Tantus is on Wayland. That's what the planet's called. And you said Ariadu?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm sorry, my friend. I'm not sure what planet you're talking about.
Who knows?
I tried looking it up, but I couldn't find anything.
Who knows?
Who knows? So we get... I think we could just say it. It's the Zillo Beast.
The return of the Zillo Beast.
This was a really cool callback to the Clone Wars, because the Zillo Beast was what, 2 episodes, 3 episodes maybe?
Yeah, it was like a whole arc.
Yeah, we saw the Zillo Beast on its original planet. The Republic comes in. The people on the planet want to kill the Zillo Beast, which, something of note, was this, what's his name? From the pod racing.
The Doug planet?
Yeah.
They're Dougs. But you're talking about Sebulba.
Yes.
But their species is Dougs.
Yes. It's the same species as Sebulba, which was, again, a really cool callback. They want to kill it. The Republic wants to capture it. The Republic captures the Zillo Beast. It gets taken to Coruscant, where it gets set loose. They defeat it, and then the Chancellor orders it to be cloned.
Well, he captures it and he keeps it.
Yeah, right. So that was all really set up, and then I don't think we saw anything else from it in Clone Wars. So it was really nice coming back to the Bad Batch and actually getting a conclusion to that and what actually happened.
Okay, I know where I got Ariadu from.
Oh, nice. Okay.
It's Tarkin's homeworld.
Oh, okay. Yeah, okay, so for our listeners, it's Eriadu. Not even close to how I spelled it. I spelled it Areadu.
It's okay.
Yeah, I took a shot in the dark and was very, very wrong.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I think, as just a quick summary of the episode, so we can kind of really talk about the moments we really enjoyed. It gets out. Tech. Yes, I said the right one this time. I had to stop and think. Tech essentially.
You had to think if you were talking about Tuck or Echo.
Yes, exactly. Tech says, "Hey, don't let this thing eat electricity or it's going to get bigger." Of course, he says that right as it starts eating electricity and gets really big. And then the Empire comes in and ends up taking it down, and they try and shoot down the Bad Batch's ship. They escape, and then they lock up they take the townspeople that saw it into custody, and then we have some stuff on Mount Tantus. But yes, that's just kind of a basic rundown. Let's really dive in.
I was so glad whenever they brought it, because I'm gonna be honest, at the beginning, whenever the Bad Batch like first encounter it, I had no idea it was the Zillo Beast, and luckily it didn't get spoiled for me either.
It 100% got spoiled for me. I knew it was coming. I was so mad.
Yeah, everybody, whenever this episode dropped, I watched it like on its drop, and then I started seeing stuff about it, and like everything was blowing up. The internet was blowing up over this episode because it was a big deal.
Yeah,
that the Zillo Beast was back.
Yeah, for sure.
Because I mean, that was just one of those Clone Wars arcs that like you're like, okay, I guess this is it.
I guess we're never gonna see this thing again.
Yeah, we just never know what happens to it. The Emperor takes it, and that's kind of it. Which the reason he wanted it was because its armor was like super resistant to like all forms of energy, including lightsabers. So obviously he wanted it because, you know, to try to make armor for his new troops that were lightsaber resistant, or to make a phase 3 clone armor if the Clone Wars were going to drag on longer.
Right.
So that way, whenever he did Order 66, he wouldn't lose as many clones.
Yeah, which is very smart, and I'm really interested to see, because we don't really get the conclusion of that, because they never explain why they didn't start making this armor. And I mean, even all the way up to the sequel trilogy, we don't see Stormtrooper armor where it's obviously blaster and saber proof, besides Phasma. So clearly nothing really happened with this in the long run.
I think logistically it was probably very expensive, but I mean, that's also the cool thing about Star Wars is like, it doesn't pretend that like money isn't a thing in the galaxy. Like everything has a cost, and you know, the Emperor had so many projects,
right?
Realistically, the Empire was probably hemorrhaging money like crazy, which is why they, you know, laid siege to so many worlds. It, you know, took so many resources from everywhere, is because the Death Star was such a costly project.
Yeah.
And it was a secret project.
Right.
So it was expensive.
Exactly.
What would be more cost effective? Building this super weapon that, in theory, he believed he would only have to build one time, and that would ensure his, you know, reign over the galaxy for 1 million years.
Yeah.
Or do I develop all this new armor that I'll have to keep developing the more troops I get?
Right. Yeah, and I mean, I think the Death Star was easier to keep a secret. I mean, once you start putting this armor on troopers, like, every planet they encounter is going to know about it.
Unless they just killed everybody.
That is true. Which
I mean,
is essentially
kind of what the Death Star did.
It's pretty much exactly the same thing. Yeah.
Just in a more effective manner.
Right.
But the Zillo Beast, I think, was just more for the cloning capabilities, because that's also what we're getting more and more of in these episodes as their season goes on, is they're finally revealing how the Emperor came back.
Yeah.
Which, in my opinion, I don't think that was the original plan whenever The Rise of Skywalker came out.
I don't think so either. But I think, you know, I don't know if they really even had a good plan or vision on how he came back.
No, I think this is all just really good storytelling.
Yeah, and they're, you know, I think they're trying to essentially fix all the issues that people had with the sequel trilogy and connect everything together, which we'll see. I think they're doing a great job so far, but You know, it's just going to depend on how they cross that finish line, I guess.
Yeah, we just got to be more patient, I guess.
Yeah, for sure.
We only had to wait however many years it's been.
To find out about the Zillow Beast.
And the Emperor.
Yep, for sure. Okay, so I always love getting to see the Republic Commandos.
Yes.
It was very sad watching them, you know, just like herd these poor villagers into their ship.
Yeah, for something that's not their fault. But I mean, again, it just shows who the Empire is. But like I said earlier, did you realize it was... Well, you already knew. Never mind.
Yeah, I want to say I would have known based on the facial features, but I probably wouldn't have.
No, whenever it's small,
Yeah.
like, I don't even think it crossed my mind that it was Zillow Beast, because, I mean, it's been so long since I watched that season of Clone Wars.
Yeah.
That, like, I just thought it was some creature, and then even whenever it started feeding on electricity, I was like, what's that all about? It honestly wasn't until he finally grew to his full size that I was like, no way, it's the Zillow Beast.
Right, yeah, and I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure this Zillow Beast was still a lot smaller than...
than the original.
Well, so I feel like it's... My guess is that it essentially will have two forms. Its small, lumpy version, and then a full, like the long, lengthy version. And it can be either or at any time. It's just depending on how much electricity it has. Not based on how old it is. Does that make sense?
Yeah, because, I mean, this one's got to be pretty young.
Yeah.
But that also begs the question of, like, you know, if these creatures can't get all that electricity, like, are there some that are just those lumpy ones and some that are the full size? Like, they always stay the baby size forever, their whole life?
Yeah, I think so. That's what I was going to bring up. I think the lumpy version is how the Dugs, like, how it avoided the Dugs for so long.
Probably.
Yeah.
Until it could feed on enough energy.
Yeah.
Because there was only that one.
Right.
But they were killing them with, like, gas or something.
Yeah. Yeah, just, you know, animal cruelty.
Yeah. Sure.
Let's see. And then I think the scene at the end was very good. We have our lead scientist, I don't know what his name is, talking to the Prime Minister of Camino. Also can't remember what his name is. And they're talking about...
Lama Su.
Mm-hmm. They're talking about cloning, and essentially they offer him a deal, like, if you help us, you know, we'll help you. And he takes it. And he gives out the information they'll need to get Omega.
Yeah, so I don't know if you noticed this, but in this episode, for a quick second, we get a commando while they're taking the town.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's true or if it's just a theory, but he's a commando, and he's in gray and white commando armor. And the theory that I saw was that it's Scorch.
Ooh, okay.
I don't know if it's true or not.
I'm trying not to get my hopes up. I love Scorch. I really want to see him again, but I don't want to be disappointed.
I don't know if you'd seen that.
Every commando I see, the thought process crosses my mind of, is that Scorch? Is that our boy? Is that him?
You know, I still have yet to play that game.
It really is fantastic. I will admit the button layout's a little weird. It takes a little bit to get used to, but once you do, it plays very well.
I mean, it's just the port over. It's like playing Battlefront 2.
Yeah. I'm trying to think. Oh, not the Republic. This is not the Republic anymore. The Empire's ship that they used to actually take down the Zillow Beast. Clearly, this weapon was made to take this thing down. I'm curious what it was like actually shooting out.
Some type of energy.
Yeah. Yeah, it reminded me of electricity, and I'm like, but it can't be. That's what it feeds on. Unless they're trying to, like, quote-unquote, overdose the Zillow Beast, maybe? Like, give it too much electricity?
Yeah, like a concentrated dose.
Yeah.
That could be it.
I think that's everything I have for this episode. You got anything else?
I mean, just, getting more cloning stuff and the fact that they get it back, and
did they put it
it's
in
interesting.
a
Back to tank.
Yeah,
kinda,
that's what I was thinking as well.
like a stasis chamber of some sort.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what they do next with it, and if it will be in the Bad Batch, or if it'll be in like some other random project 5 years from now.
Maybe. I mean, this season is over, so
Yep. Yeah. Maybe. I know a lot of complaints were, people wanted bigger monsters to fight in Jedi Fallen Order. Maybe Survivor will have us fighting the Zillow Beast.
it's possible.
But just another wild theory to throw out there that probably will never happen.
Hey, did Scorch have yellow markings on his armor too?
I believe Scorch was yellow, but you want to start talking about the next episode, and I will look into it. Also, this is episode 12, The Outpost.
Honestly, so episode 11, the only reason I liked it so much was because of the Zillow Beast and the cloning. Everything else about the episode was just a normal Bad Batch episode. I think I liked episode 12. I think episode 12, looking back now, that the, shininess of the Zillow Beast has worn off a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And the fanboy rose-tinted glasses have sort of fallen from my eyes a bit.
Yeah.
I think 12 is my favorite of this batch.
Me too. Okay, sorry. Yes, Scorch does have yellow armor.
Is it like all yellow, or is it just like little stripes?
Little stripes, mostly on his arms and legs.
It could be Scorch then.
Yeah. Crosshair episodes are my favorite episodes. Just coming in strong. I think they're the best episodes.
He's become way more interesting.
Yeah, and technically he's a part of the Bad Batch. Technically he's a main character, but sometimes I feel sad watching Crosshair episodes thinking like, why can't the normal Bad Batch episodes be this good?
I think it's hard to do that with that many characters, though, and everything's so focused on Omega, and she's with those other three, so...
Yeah. Actually, I think I just clicked why I like the Crosshair episodes so much. You're completely right. It's hard to do when there's multiple characters. Crosshair's actually going on an emotional journey with, like, real character development, and, like, especially this episode, we see a big change in Crosshair, and the rest of the Bad Batch is kind of already there,
Yeah, they've already kind of went on that journey earlier, because, I mean, Echo's finally found his place with Rex. Mm-hmm. Tech is still kind of figuring out how to, I guess be an uncle to Omega.
Yeah.
And, how everything isn't so logical all the time, especially when dealing with a child.
Right.
Who's growing up in this really not so great environment, and she's trying to discover herself.
Yeah.
And, Hunter already went through his whole development with, okay, I'm a father now.
Yeah, and I think a lot of those things, like Hunter's father thing, that arc happened really fast.
Yeah.
Echo's arc,
like 2 episodes.
Yeah, Echo's arc was kind of more in the background. Just every once in a while, he'd make a comment of, "I'm not happy with about how things are."
That and Echo's story has been since Clone Wars.
Yeah. But Crosshair's going on like an actual emotional journey, and I really like what they're doing with his character.
I do as well. And right at the beginning of the episode, it's really sad. Crosshair's standing outside of his shuttle, and you see a group of clone troopers being escorted out of the facility and being told, enjoy your retirement.
Mm-hmm.
And one of them asks the question to the Imperial. He's like, what are we supposed to do? Like, we're soldiers. This is what we're made for. And they're like, any questions you have, just go see the VA office. Bye.
Pretty much, yeah. Yeah. Which, you know, I think with everything, did we ever get a conclusion to the whole pension thing? I'm guessing they didn't get their pensions.
You'll find out soon enough.
Oh, good. Okay. That makes me happy. Because a part of me was starting to see these things, and I was like, if like this is a plot point that I actually care about. I know it's not that important to like the overarching story, but I want to see our clones have a good life after the war.
I mean, everything's just moving so quickly in the galaxy, though.
Yeah, I agree.
That you can't spend time on all of those things, but they're also important things because they help paint a picture of where the galaxy is moving towards and why it's moving that way so quickly.
Yes. And again, I love The Bad Batch. The Bad Batch is one of my favorite projects, even though I have some issues with it and its pacing and some of the filler episodes. This is one of my favorite Star Wars projects because of exactly what you said. Seeing the galaxy shift.
Yeah, I think that's why I like the show as well, is because, to be honest, it's not my favorite Star Wars show.
Yeah.
I'd still rather watch, like, Clone Wars. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, I'm not super invested in the characters, really.
But you're invested in the galaxy and what's happening there.
Yeah, and what's going on. And this show really does a great job of filling in the gaps that we've been missing for so long.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I enjoy it.
Same. And I think that's another reason I prefer Crosshair episodes, because they're more focused on filling in these gaps. Like, yes, we get some Bad Batch episodes where they do, like the ones we talked about last time with the clone conspiracy and, they have to sneak on the ship to get the proof of what happened on Kamino. Like, that was very focused. But most of the time, they're just on, like, random adventures that don't really matter. But it feels like the Crosshair episodes really matter.
I agree.
Well, do we want to actually get into what happens?
Into the Crosshair episode instead of just talking about the Crosshair episode? Mm-hmm. Yeah, so Crosshair is paired up with this Imperial lieutenant who is very straight-laced and obviously does not like the clones. He is very much an Imperial.
Yeah, and like what did he say at the very beginning? He said, I don't like used equipment or something like that when referring to the clones.
Yeah, because all that Crosshair has left is like himself and just like 2 clones. Like, that's his squad at this point.
Yeah. Yeah.
He has nothing else.
And like, this Imperial's very first line is CT, whatever Crosshair's numbers are, you're out of uniform.
9904.
Yeah.
Yeah, just because he has his helmet off.
Mm-hmm.
And Crosshair, being the good soldier he is, immediately puts his helmet on.
Yeah. Yeah. So they're sent to this outpost where there have been these clones protecting these crates that's important to the Empire, but we don't know what's in there. And as they get to the outpost, they realize that things may not be so great there.
Yeah, the lieutenant meets the clone commander there, and he's like, where's your whole squad at? He's like, you're looking at it.
Yeah,
it's like him and 2 other guys. Mm-hmm. And it's funny because lieutenant's like, we need to get all this stuff moving. We need to get this cargo. Like, this is important stuff. Let's get moving. And I forget what he says to the commander, but the commander goes, Lieutenant, my title is commander.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Which obviously outranks him.
Right.
And he's like, very well, Commander. Either way, we're on the Empire's time, and I say it's now.
Yeah. I liked Mayday's beard. I thought it looked good.
Yeah, this was a cool episode because, again, it's like a forgotten planet.
Yeah. The fact that I'm sorry, you might have mentioned it, and I might have missed it, but the fact that Mayday and his squad had been protecting it for a whole year.
I did not mention it.
Okay, cool. Yes, they'd been protecting it for a year. They've made multiple requests for reinforcements, supplies, equipment, all denied.
And there's a reason why.
There's a reason why.
But yeah, Mayday's cool because he has the beard, he has this long, shaggy hair, and he's made adjustments to his armor.
Yeah, it's just like essentially duct tape holding his armor together.
Yeah, it's like all these rags and stuff.
Yeah, it looks cool,
Like
but it's clear he's been there a while.
Yeah, but he's like extremely out of regulation, which is great for this, lieutenant that we have that's super imperial and all this stuff. And then here you have Mayday that's like just this ragtag old commander.
Yeah. Something that made my blood boil was his constant comments about how Mayday has failed because his whole team's gone, or his whole squad's gone, and that they're not doing enough there. And he's like, well, the Empire could have sent more supplies. And the lieutenant's just like, no, it's your fault. Sorry.
Yeah. Why are you not better?
Why aren't you better? Why couldn't you do more with you and 2 other guys?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just really like Mayday.
I really like Mayday too. And I really like this episode. I'm not happy with how it ends.
I love how it ends.
Me too. I have mixed feelings. So Mayday's showing Crosshair the facility. They're really talking about like why things aren't going so great, how people have gotten past the sensors, who's attacking them, stuff like that, and then they get attacked.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's also important to note that like they're getting raided by locals, and Crosshair makes the comment. He's like, "Well, how are they even getting through?"
Yeah,
and he's like, "Our sensors have like degraded so terribly that like they're in and out. Like sometimes they work, sometimes they don't." And he's like, again, like you said, he's like, "I've made requisition orders to get better stuff, and it just denied."
Yeah, and he also made a comment here about how you can't go out on your own because either the creatures of the planet or the this is a snowy planet. I don't know if we've talked about that. It's like constantly snowing.
I don't think we mentioned that. Yeah, it's just a snow-covered planet.
So either the creatures or the elements will kill you.
The ice vultures.
The ice vultures. We gotta love the ice vultures. But yes, they get attacked. It's not really too intense of an action scene. I mean, Crosshair's ship gets blown up. I really loved the fact that like he was tracking someone in his scope. The ship blew up and like it hurt his eyes.
Was it that, or did they use a flash? Oh yeah, it was the ship exploding.
Yeah, and I mean, I think it was a very loud sound as well because his ears were ringing. But I don't know, just a really nice detail. A lot of times in action sequences, there's explosions going off and no one like it doesn't affect anybody.
Yeah, their helmets obviously have like enhanced visuals and stuff.
Right. So
obviously an explosion going off is gonna make that hurt. It's like someone shining a flashlight in your eyes.
Right. Yeah. And he's able to shoot one, which is how they track them later.
Yeah, he has a blood trail.
Something of note, though, from this battle is that we for sure get the confirmation that Mayday's team gets killed, but I think the 2 clones under Crosshair also die. Because we never see them again.
Just Mayday's. So he goes and he's tracking the blood spot.
Right.
And gets to that cave, and then he goes back to the base. I'm pretty sure.
I don't I don't think so. I think he follows the blood spot to the cave.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Right. But, like, they don't go back till after they've killed the locals.
Do they? No, I've got it up right now. They go back to the base.
Oh, okay. Never mind.
Because he puts his two guys' helmets there.
Yes.
And the reason why Mayday and Crosshair go off alone is because the lieutenant says, if you have to go take care of these raiders because, you know, this cargo is so important. And Crosshair's like, if you want me to go on a mission, then I need people. And he's like, nope, I'm keeping the last two with me.
Right. I'm guessing the TK troopers we see at the end, though, were probably just people they called in for.
Yes.
Yeah. Anyway, so they get not approval. They get forced onto this mission, just the two of them. And they're tracking people specifically through this cave. And there's a moment there where they find a dead body. And there's two things I really wanted to point out. One was the fact that the locals are using clone trooper armor. And two, the fact that essentially Crosshair makes a comment about how they left him here to die because he was dead weight. And Mayday says, remind me not to die around you because, you know, like a joking, haha, you're going to leave me behind, which is really important for later.
Yeah, well, I mean, the cool thing about Mayday is, like, you kind of, with this episode, you see, like, Crosshair's, like, humanity start to come back the more time he spends with Mayday.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, even from their first meeting, you know, they're in this little storeroom, and Crosshair takes a second before joining back up with Mayday and the lieutenant, and he kind of just looks at all the helmets around in the room.
Yeah.
And you can tell he just, like, takes a second. And he's like, you know, we never really liked the regs, but
They're still our brothers.
that's more than I had.
Yeah.
And it's nice to see Crosshair's, like, just actual thoughts come back.
Right.
And realize that the galaxy is just not what he thought it was.
He's not just a good soldiers follow orders kind of guy.
Yeah.
So they're in the cave. I think the next major thing is Crosshair steps on a mine.
Yes.
Which Mayday uses just little metal rods to essentially stick into the ground to keep the mine in place or from, you know, going up to cause the explosion.
Yeah, because it's a dead weight type of deal. So he takes, like, little stakes and drives them down because Crosshair's standing on it, and he's like, Mayday's like, oh, I've kind of seen mines like this before. I'm not an explosive expert, but maybe I can do it.
Yeah. And I love the moment, like the moment after he's got the stakes in and Crosshair starts to step up and he's like, wait. Let me go around the corner.
Yeah.
And he specifically says, I'm confident, but I'm not stupid.
Yeah.
Which I really like that line.
Yeah, right before that, he's working on the mine, and Crosshair's talking to him, and he's like, well, who were you with before all this? Mm-hmm. And he tells him Clone Force 99. And it's funny because Mayday doesn't know who that is.
Yeah. Or maybe he does, but I think if he does, it's more of like he understands what loss feels like, and there's no need to be like, oh wow, Clone Force 99, you guys are so cool. He's more of just letting his brother talk through his feelings.
I don't think he knew who they were, though, because Crosshair tells him, and he asks him, like, so what happened to them? Mm-hmm. And it didn't sound like it was like like, what happened to you guys?
Yeah.
It was more of just like a whatever, because like we said, he's been on this outpost for a year,
Right.
So I mean, who knows?
Yeah, this was either like very beginning of the Republic or very beginning of the Empire or very end of the Republic when he got stationed here.
Which is also an interesting point because, you know, we've talked about the timeline in this show, which if he's been on this outpost for a year and, you know, the Empire is like just really starting to grow, and become the thing that we eventually know the Empire as, this show takes place over a very short time.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. And if he was stationed there, like if this is under a year and he was stationed there before the Republic fell, that would mean that Palpatine was working on his stormtrooper, at least the armor, before the Republic even fell.
Very well could have been.
Because, I mean, they've been guarding these crates for a year, and I think they've been completely abandoned. So this armor had to have been there when they got there.
Yeah.
Or
that's a good point, Elijah.
Or it has been just about a year, and he got stationed there right at the beginning of the Empire.
Right.
But Dave Filoni, give us a timeline, please and thank you.
Yeah, I need a Bad Batch timeline for sure.
So I think really, I mean, they find the locals and they kill them. I don't think there's anything major that I have of note here. Did you have anything?
It was just cool seeing Crosshair work with a clone again.
Yeah. It's nice. It's nice and it's heartbreaking because I feel like they just keep connecting Crosshair with clones, which I'll talk about here in a little bit.
Okay. So they kill all the raiders and get the crate back.
Yeah. And as they're, picking it up, they realize that it's not clone trooper armor.
Well, I mean, they didn't even know what was in there, so...
Yeah. Which I really like Mayday's line where he's like, you're kidding me. There's been armor here this whole time. Me and my squad could have been replacing our armor this whole time. And Crosshair then brings up that it's not clone trooper armor, which, I get that frustration from Mayday because, as you stated earlier, like, his whole armor is just, like, held together by rags.
Yeah. Which, I mean, now we're finally seeing, like, actual Stormtrooper helmet, too.
Mm-hmm. It's all coming together.
It's all coming together.
And then, unless you have anything else for here, we have our avalanche.
No.
Yeah. I think with the avalanche, the only thing I really have is the fact that, like, I really appreciate that Mayday sacrificed himself for Crosshair.
He's just that guy, man.
He's just that guy. He is him.
He's the light that Crosshair needed.
Yeah.
In a time when he was very unsure of himself.
Yeah, for sure. And then, I mean, we see, as stated, there was the line that was foreshadowing this earlier where Mayday said, remind me not to die in front of you, joking that Crosshair would leave him behind. But that's not what Crosshair did. He dug himself out of the snow, and he went and found Mayday and dug him out.
Yep, and carried him back.
Yeah, and even when Mayday was telling him to leave him behind, Crosshair didn't.
It's nice to see.
Yeah, for sure. Which we get them making it to the base. The TK troopers are loading up all the armor. Crosshair begs for a medic, and this lieutenant says that would be a waste of Empire resources.
Yeah, because like everybody's just loading all this gear and stuff up, and here comes Crosshair carrying Mayday. Like, obviously they're hurt and stuff, and they've been out in these elements for God knows how long. Mm-hmm. Well, probably just the night.
Yeah.
And screaming for help, and he can't get any.
Yeah.
It was sad.
And Mayday dies. And I think... I just feel bad for Crosshair. My comment earlier was in reference to the fact that he has Clone Force 99. He loves his brothers. They left him. He's alone. Then he started to bond with Cody. Cody went AWOL. Left him. He's alone. Then he found Mayday. They connected. They bonded. And then he died. And Crosshair's alone again.
Yeah. And like Crosshair's like barely keeping it together too, and all the lieutenant has to tell him is, "Oh, you didn't bring the crates back.
Yeah. And then
You failed."
I'm pretty sure there was another comment about how they were expendable as well. Like he said Mayday was expendable just like you, something like that.
He tells him that he served his purpose.
Yeah. And then he turns his back and he starts walking away, and Crosshair finally snaps.
Oh, you're right. He does tell him that he's expendable.
Of course. Were you watching it right there?
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
Crosshair snaps and he shoots this lieutenant right in the back and collapses. Like literally use the last of his strength to get up, shoot this man, and then he passes out.
This was, like I said, I think this was like my favorite episode.
Yeah.
Out of this batch, because like it was it was upsetting to see Mayday die. I thought we were gonna like get a new guy.
Right? Like not only to see him die, but to see him die when he didn't need to.
Yeah.
Yeah. But who knows? I mean, if Mayday had lived, we may not get... Like, Crosshair might have stayed with the Empire. I mean, I don't know what happens. Maybe a Crosshair dies. But I think the last point on this episode to point out is that he wakes up on Mount Tantus. Which I'm sure is important.
Indeed, he does.
For what's to come next.
It is.
Good. But yes, I agree. This was my favorite episode of this batch.
It was just so cool to like... I mean, yeah, Crosshair collapses and everything after he shoots the lieutenant. But you finally get to see Crosshair come around.
Yeah.
We've all waited for it for so long. And he finally did it.
Yeah. Yeah, and I hope this momentum of him, fixing himself, I guess, keeps going. The season's already over. You know what happens. People listening to this already know what happens. But I'm worried without having seen it that with him on Mount Tantus, they're just gonna put his inhibitor chip back in. They'll justify it as, oh, well, we took this clone's troop out. Now his inhibitor trip out. Now he's rebelling. He killed the officer. Let's just put it back in, see what happens.
I don't know.
I guess we'll just have to talk about it next week.
I guess we will.
Anyway, that's all I had for it. Did you have anything else?
Maybe it was... I like that Crosshair's redemption wasn't him going back to Clone Force 99.
Me too, yes.
I think that was a really important part for his character.
Yeah, I agree.
Because, I mean, even though he shot the lieutenant, it's never, overtly stated, like, he could still want to work for the Empire. He just really didn't like that lieutenant.
Right.
And didn't appreciate, Mayday, just, the person that actually, like, took an interest in just him and not who the group was.
Yeah.
He just wanted to know about Crosshair and talk to him and help him out.
Right.
And be there for him instead of who he represented.
Yeah. Yeah,
and I think that's what really gets him.
I completely agree. And watching these episodes, like, I was really upset in the season 1 finale when Crosshair decided not to go back with the team. I was like, really? After all that, you're going to stay? But after seeing these episodes, I'm really glad he did. Because, like I said, they've been my favorite episodes so far.
Yeah, and like I said, it just makes his redemption so much better.
Yeah, I completely agree.
In my opinion.
In my humble opinion, for sure.
My humble opinion.
Anything else, my friend?
I don't think so.
Well, great. If you guys have any questions that you want us to answer or any comments or anything, or you want to be a part of this conversation, you can email us at animalsquadron@gmail.com. Again, that is animalsquadron@gmail.com. Thank you guys so much for watching. And for the Animal Squadron, this has been Mother Goose.
And HouseDog.
See you, everybody.
Goodbye.